In London, an undercover team, led by Hattie, sets out to recover a deadly virus called Snowflake from a tech-based group known as Eden. A helicopter drops them near the compound, and they blast the main door open to force their way inside. In the garage, the team throws a grenade to distract the guards before starting their attack. A few shots are fired, but most of the fighting is hand-to-hand as the agents quickly overpower their opponents. While her team handles the guards, Hattie slips into a truck and hacks a secure case to pull out the virus. Just then, she's confronted by Brixton, a former agent turned cybernetic enforcer now working for Eden. The agents immediately point their weapons at him, but Brixton scans them with his enhanced vision before charging in. With precise, lightning-fast strikes, he takes the entire team down within seconds. Hattie fires at him as well, but Brixton casually blocks every bullet with his hand. Panicked, she locks herself inside the truck, though Brixton begins smashing the door, tearing through the metal. This makes it clear to him that she's moving to the driver's seat. Brixton opens fire on the windshield as she reverses the truck, ramming vehicles out of the way before breaking through the gate. With no other option, Hattie injects Snowflake into herself. By the time Brixton catches up, she has already escaped. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Agent Hobbs enters a karaoke bar and makes his way backstage where a gang is gathered. He swiftly takes out the entire group with ease and saves the leader for last, strapping him to a tattoo chair and demanding information about the virus. When the boss claims to know nothing, Hobbs tattoos an insult on his forehead and walks out. In London, Agent Shaw attends a lavish party and heads to the VIP section in search of his targets. He dispatches the entire group within minutes, using anything around him as weapons. When he corners the leader, he ties a rope around him and dangles him out of a window, pressing for details about Snowflake. The man has no answers either, so Shaw leaves him hanging and exits. Later, Hobbs has lunch with his daughter, Sam. She's working on a family tree for school, but admits she doesn't know much about her relatives. Hobbs avoids the subject. Their meal is cut short when a CIA officer arrives with intel on Snowflake. He shows Hobbs a photo and explains that the virus liquefies organs from the inside. The agency believes Hattie stole it after killing her team, while the scientist who created it is missing. Since Hobbs is the best tracker available, they want him to hunt her down. He usually works alone, but is told he'll need to meet a contact in London. At the same time, Shaw visits his mother in prison. She asks about his sister, Hattie, but Shaw admits they haven't spoken in years. Before leaving, she reveals she picked her handcuffs while they were talking. Outside, Shaw is approached by a CIA agent who also shows him a photo of Hattie. They claim she is wanted because of the virus, but promise immunity if Shaw helps recover it. Shaw reluctantly agrees, though he isn't pleased about working with another agent. Elsewhere, Hattie received a call ordering her to surrender Snowflake. Realizing her own agency now thinks she betrayed her team, she knows she'll be killed if she shows up. Preparing for the worst, she pulls out weapons and sets traps throughout her apartment. At the CIA office, Hobbs and Shaw are stunned when they discover they've been paired together. Since they have a history and don't get along, they immediately start arguing. When agents try to separate them, Hobbs even hurls a chair at the door. In the end, they decide to work separately and compete to see who finds Snowflake first. After Shaw leaves, Hobbs studies the surveillance footage and notices areas without camera coverage. He figures Hattie must be hiding in those blind spots. Shaw goes to her apartment, carefully spotting one of her traps as he enters. He avoids it and searches through hidden compartments until he finds a laptop. Suddenly, Eden's men surround him. Shaw draws a concealed gun and shoots two before fighting the rest hand-to-hand, using furniture and anything nearby as weapons. He defeats them one after another, even throwing one out the window. The struggle sets off Hattie's trap, but Shaw manages to disarm it at the last second. Meanwhile, Hattie sneaks into a hotel, stealing a bag from a luggage cart and lifting a key card from a guest she bumps into. She enters the room, uses the stolen clothes to disguise herself, and heads out. On her way, she's intercepted by Hobbs, who orders her to give up. She grabs a helmet and strikes him several times, trying to escape, but Hobbs blocks her at every turn. She hurls objects at him, yet he brushes them off and slaps on handcuffs. Still resisting, Hattie lands a few more hits and even locks him in chokehold. Hobbs overpowers her easily, lifting her with one hand. The next day, Brixton visits Eden headquarters for an update on his enhancements, a process that leaves him in visible pain. Eden's plan is revealed. Use Snowflake to wipe out ordinary people and create a stronger race of superhumans. At the CIA base, Hobbs confronts Hattie, saying he knows from her fighting style that she didn't kill her team, but until they can prove her innocence, he can't let her go. Their conversation is cut short when Hobbs gets a call from Sam. He steps outside, leaving another agent to guard Hattie. She breaks her necklace and uses a shard to pick the handcuffs beneath the table. Then she takes down the guard with brutal strikes, even grabbing his gun. Hobbs rushes back in and tries to stop her, but she aims the weapon at him. Just then, Shaw shows up, pointing his gun too, and reveals that Hattie is his sister. As the men argue, Hattie finally admits that the virus is inside a capsule embedded in her hand. Suddenly, an explosion rips through the window, the blast knocking her unconscious. Brixton and his men storm in, firing nonstop and forcing all the agents into hiding. They capture Hattie and leap out the window using special harnesses that let them run along the side of the building. Shaw and Hobbs quickly take down the two men left behind before Hobbs jumps to slide down the rope, while Shaw takes the elevator. Hobbs lands on an enemy, slamming him against the elevator to knock him out. He then leaps onto another man to fight him as well. Hattie regains consciousness and slips a knife for Brixton's suit, cutting the rope with it. They crash down onto a glass roof, just as Shaw's elevator hits the ground. Shaw immediately starts fighting more agents, taking their guns and opening fire. Hobbs makes another dive to strike Brixton, breaking the glass and sending them both crashing onto a vehicle. Hobbs tries to hit Brixton, but Brixton easily throws him against a car. When he turns, both Brixton and Shaw are stunned to see each other. It's revealed they were once teammates, but Brixton defected to join Edian, and Shaw was ordered to eliminate him. Shaw also tries to attack, but Brixton brings him down without effort. Hobbs drops another agent and grabs a grenade, tossing it at a car that crashes onto Brixton. His enhanced arms allow him to stop it from crushing him. Meanwhile, Hattie takes out another agent, and Hobbs runs after her, only for Shaw to appear in his car and pull them both to safety. Brixton and his men mount their bikes and give chase. Shaw speeds through traffic, swerving around civilians, while Hobbs fires at the bikers whenever he can. Soon only Brixton remains, and his advanced bike helps him overcome any obstacle. Brixton fires at them, trapping Shaw's vehicle between him and the agents closing in. Hobbs dragged a biker off his ride and smashes him into a wall. Shaw then pulls off a daring stunt, sliding the car under a truck. Brixton follows easily thanks to his bike's modifications. Shaw suddenly makes a sharp U-turn, forcing Brixton to slam into a bus. This gives the trio a chance to get away. Moments later, Brixton has the Edian team hack into every news network, spreading false reports. Now Shaw and Hobbs are branded as dangerous terrorists on national TV. After watching the broadcast, Hattie insists they need to find the scientist who designed the virus to remove it. Hobbs shows her the photo he received from the CIA. Within hours, they track down Dr. Enrio and corner him in the street. Inside an abandoned building, they demand he help with the virus. Enrio explains that in 42 hours, the capsule will dissolve, releasing the virus into the air. Eden had hired him to design a system for fast vaccine delivery, but the company altered it to be deadly. Against his morals, Enrio walked away. To reprogram the virus, the capsule must be extracted, but the only way to safely do it is with a machine at Edian's Ukrainian facility. The trio then heads to Shaw's safe house to gather disguises and create fake passports. At the airport, Shaw and Hattie pass security without issue, but Hobbs is detained. Shaw had deliberately given him a wanted alias to keep him out of the way. Still, Hobbs manages to sneak onto the plane before takeoff. During the flight, Shaw and Hobbs argue again, waking Air Marshal Dinkley. He interrupts them, noting from their talk that they're on a mission. As a former Marine who misses combat, he offers his help. They reject him, but he still gives them his card before walking away. Meanwhile, Brixton finds Enrio and drags him to Edian headquarters. He chains him up and fires bullets near him to scare him. When Enrio refuses to help, Brixton threatens him with a flamethrower to break his will. In Moscow, the heroes meet crime boss Margarita, who greets her old flame Shaw with a kiss. Margarita shares intel on the Edian facility, and Hattie volunteers to be captured, so she'll be taken directly to the extraction machine, allowing the others to track her. Margarita also arms them with plenty of weapons and gadgets for the mission. That evening, she delivers Hattie to Brixton as a prisoner. The next morning, Hattie is brought into the facility, while Shaw and Hobbs follow on a plane. They jump out near the site and land inside a silo to sneak in. As they fight their way through guards, Hattie is taken into the lab, where Enrio begins preparing the machine. Meanwhile, Hobbs and Shaw plant explosives, setting them to detonate in 45 minutes. They move through separate doors. Hobbs only needs to knock out one guard, while Shaw faces a whole group at once. He takes them down with ease, and both men use the unconscious guards to unlock the next doors. They enter the same room, where Brixton and his men quickly overpower them. Meanwhile, in the lab, Hattie is strapped to a table by her hands. Her legs are free, so she attacks the guards and knocks them out, stealing the syringe meant for her. With a hidden pick in her mouth, she unlocks her cuffs, frees herself, and takes the machine. Ando helps her escape through another exit. They move quietly through the facility, with Hattie knocking out some scientists along the way. When Hobbs and Shaw regain consciousness, they find themselves chained to chairs connected to cables. Brixton starts electrocuting them repeatedly while preaching about wiping out humanity. He He offers them a chance to join Ishin, but when they refuse, the shocks intensify. At the same time, Hattie and Enrio prepare to leave in a truck. Hattie suddenly hears her teammates screaming. As Hobbs notices her sneaking in, he pretends to show interest in Ishin to stall for time. This allows Hattie to appear behind Brixton, but the guards won't shoot since they need her alive. Unfortunately, her weapon doesn't work. At that moment, Enrio appears with a flamethrower and blasts Brixton, knocking him back. While Enrio burns more guards, Hobbs and Shaw break free from the chairs. The three join forces, taking down guards and stealing weapons. After the flames die down, Brixton re-enters the fight and quickly kills Enrio. Hobbs and Shaw grab a car and chase after Hattie, who runs across shipping containers. She leaps into their vehicle and explains she hid the device in a truck. Hobbs leaves them to search for it as the guards give chase, leading the pursuit out into the street. When Brixton spots Hobbs escaping in the truck, he jumps onto it, retrieves his bike, and joins the chase. Explosives go off, forcing Hobbs to drive through walls to find a way out. Outside, Brixton deploys 3 drones to hunt for Hattie. Shaw is nearly cut off but drives on a raised platforms to escape. The drones lock onto him and open fire, forcing Shaw to smash through a window into a factory. Hobbs also crashes into the same building and destroys a drone before breaking through the gate and slamming into enemy vehicles. Another drone follows Shaw outside, shooting at him until he launches the car through another window. Still in midair, Shaw fires and brings the drone down. The car crashes, throwing Hattie onto the hood. With the vehicle failing and one last drone chasing them, Hattie manages to shoot it down, while Hobbs smashes more enemy cars with the truck. He stretches out his arm so Hattie can jump into the truck, right before Brixton tries and fails to grab her. Shaw then lands his car on the back of the truck before letting it drop, causing a massive blast that tears through the facility. Hobbs lets Hattie take the wheel and joins Shaw in the back as Brixton catches up again. As buildings collapse around them, a brutal fight begins. Even though it's 2 against 1, Brixton's enhanced strength gives him the upper hand. After trading blows, he prepares to finish them off until a collapsing building crushes part of the truck. Hobbs and Shaw rush to the front for cover, while Brixton jumps away to survive. Soon after, the trio stops the truck in a safe area and realizes the extraction machine broke during the battle. Hattie suggests sacrificing herself to end this, but Shaw refuses to lose her and insists they find another way. Hobbs proposes they hide in his homeland, Samoa. With Dinkley's help, they fly there unnoticed. In Samoa, Hobbs meets his brother Jonah, who greets him with a punch. The brothers immediately start arguing, only for their mother to break it up by throwing a slipper. Inside, the group asks Jonah to repair the machine, but he refuses to get involved in Hobbs' problems. Their mother has to scold him again before Jonah finally agrees to help. After that, they head to Jonah's garage where Hobbs wants to grab some weapons. But their mom has already gotten rid of all the guns, leaving only traditional tools behind. While Jonah works on fixing the machine, the rest of the group arms themselves and sets up traps all around the place. Hattie manages to hack into Edion's system and discovers a way to disable the enemy's digital weapons, but it'll only last for 6 minutes. During a short break, Hattie and Shaw open up about their struggles and share a kiss. With just 30 minutes left before the capsule dissolves, Jonah finally gets the machine repaired and starts the extraction process, though it will take some time. Right then, the enemy arrives and the team prepares for the fight. Before they go, Hobbs apologizes to his brother for walking away from the family, and they hug. At the same moment, Shaw and Hattie make peace as well, promising to stay in touch from now on. Brixton's squad surrounds the building with vehicles while Hobbs steps out with his brothers. When the enemies try to fire, their weapons fail thanks to Hattie's hack. After saying words from a traditional ritual, Hobbs sets off an explosive that destroys several vehicles and takes out many of their men. Then Shaw drives out in a truck armed with a flamethrower, creating a ring of fire that traps Brixton's group. With the enemies trapped, Hobbs and his brothers attack, starting a brutal hand-to-hand fight. Since the agents are used to firearms, they can't handle the traditional weapons. The only one holding his ground is Brixton, whose enhanced body gives him the edge. Some agents slip past the fight and find Hattie, who is still hooked up to the machine. She fights back, but there are too many, so Shaw rushes in to help her. Together, the siblings take down the attackers without stopping the extraction. An enemy drives a car straight at them, and they leap away just before it explodes. The blast leaves Hattie dazed, and she wanders off into the fight. Meanwhile, Edion's helicopter lands nearby. Brixton finds Hattie and grabs her by the neck, so she spits in his face. The others see her being dragged to the chopper and jump into a truck to chase. Shaw drives while Hobbs holds the chain at the back. When the truck makes a big jump, Hobbs throws the chain and hooks the helicopter as Shaw speeds up to pull it down. Hobbs powers up the engine to start reeling in the chopper. An angry Brixton throws the pilot out and takes control himself, pulling upward to lift the truck. At that moment, Jonah and the brothers arrive with more trucks, connecting them to Shaw's for extra weight. Soon, 4 trucks are linked in a row, but Brixton flies the chopper over a cliff to try to drag them down. Luckily, the brothers had boosters installed, and they fire them up, pulling the trucks back onto solid ground. Just then, the enemy weapons come back online, and Brixton opens fire, forcing the trucks to split. Shaw keeps dragging the helicopter while roadside traps explode, taking down Edion's cars that join the chase. The strain makes the chain snap loose, and Hobbs grabs it with his bare hands to keep hold of the chopper. With a sharp turn, Shaw shakes the truck, letting Hobbs hook the chain back again. Hattie uses the distraction to attack her guards, and their shots damage the helicopter until it crashes. As the chopper tumbles down the cliff, the truck is dragged with it, and both slam into the ground. Brixton survives, and Hattie is safe while the machine continues the extraction. Brixton wakes one of his men and orders him to shoot Hattie once the countdown ends. Hobbs and Shaw crawl out of the wreckage and face Brixton again. As usual, he overpowers them, striking with pieces of wreckage. When Shaw takes a hit, Hobbs manages to land a blow from behind. They realize one can act as bait while the other attacks, working together to turn the tide. By using this plan, they overwhelm Brixton with repeated strikes. When the machine hits 0, Hattie uses helicopter cables to cause a small explosion that knocks Brixton down. She then strangles him until he's unconscious. Hobbs and Shaw join in, and together they finally defeat him by smashing him against a rock. Shaw takes Brixton's gun but refuses to shoot, knowing it'll hurt more for him to live with the loss. Back at the garage, Hobbs' mother gathers the entire village, forcing the rest of the agents to surrender. Meanwhile, Edion's boss deactivates Brixton remotely, and his body falls into the ocean. The mysterious leader sends a message through a plane, promising it isn't the end. Later, Hobbs introduces Sam to his family at last, while Hattie and Shaw visit their mom to help her escape.